Good morning, Kansas City. Welcome to Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM. I'm Kevin Kietzman, settling in for the new week here on KCMO Talk Radio. And let's hope this goes a little bit better than my podcast this morning. I literally could not have done the radio show with what I did during the podcast this morning. I start recording the podcast usually about 6:30. I listen to the first few minutes of Pete's show, and then I start recording, and that's when I started sneezing. The allergies. And then I sneezed some more. And I had to stop, and I went upstairs and had one of those, if you have allergies, and I don't have bad allergies, like I don't go to the doctor or take shots or anything. 5 or 6 times a year, I'll take something over the counter for it just to try to dry it up. My nose was running like a faucet, and it wouldn't stop. And apparently all this stuff had gotten plugged up overnight, but I didn't wake up with a headache or really feel the congestion. I had to pause during the podcast about 6 times to blow my nose. It was unbelievable. So we're going to hope that doesn't happen here over the next hour because there's no stopping on live radio. I cannot do it. So I've got you covered here today. In just a couple of moments, we're going to talk about the next big name, the next famous celebrity in Kansas City. And this will be a very, very famous person very, very soon. We're also going to talk about the war between Ukraine and Russia because Volodymyr Zelensky just a little while ago opened up peace talks today in Turkey by bragging about his drone strikes yesterday, which I don't really have a problem with, but then he parlayed it into asking for more money. So I'm not hopeful there's going to be peace anytime soon, but this was unbelievable one month. Oh, boy. But we start with Jack Hammer. Jack Caglione is a 22-year-old baseball player that the Royals drafted last year, number 6 overall. This is the equivalent of, well, we've run the spectrum here on these. The Royals have taken what many believed was the top offensive player in the draft several times. They drafted a local kid named Bubba Starling many years ago, and it never worked out. They drafted Bobby Witt Jr., and it looks like he's got a chance to be a Hall of Famer and the best player of his generation here in Kansas City, and maybe the best player in baseball. He's still working on it, and he's on the wrong team in the wrong ballpark to rack up the stats like Aaron Judge does, but I digress. Jack Caglione is too good for the minor leagues. You didn't even know of him last year when the Royals drafted him. You probably haven't heard. You've probably heard people saying, oh, there's this guy in the minor leagues with the Royals. And I know this isn't a sports show, but this will cross over. This man is about to be part of our community in a way that Bobby Witt Jr. and Patrick Mahomes are, the way that the celebrities of Big Slick were this weekend. It transcends sports because we just watched an entire weekend of baseball where most people were talking about a celebrity softball game, where even people that are not big Royals fans and follow the game every day know what's going on out at Kauffman Stadium when it's bigger than that. Like Patrick Mahomes posted on his social media, congratulations to Jack Caglione that he's coming up to join the Royals. Well, that's immediate stamp that Patrick Mahomes knows that Jack Caglione is one of him. They're all in the same club. They're super high draft choices. They're instant millionaires, and they have incredible pressure on them. Now, I've covered baseball in Kansas City since 1985. I can tell you it's exceedingly rare for a player like this that's 22 years old, was playing college ball this time last year, to jump to the big league level and be a big success. That's a very, very rare thing. And they'll say, let's not put any pressure on him. Let's not do this, not do that. The reason he was in Omaha, because they could have just jumped him from Double-A to big leagues. The only reason he went to Omaha is they were hoping that he'd struggle for a week. Literally, like he's faced no adversity. They keep moving him up one level to another, and the guy just keeps hitting home runs. He was basically in the minor leagues this year on pace to hit what would be 50 major league home runs and about 140 RBIs, which is MVP material. That's also a pitcher, because the Royals will eventually put him on the hill. They're not going to do it now. He's probably going to play right field. He can't be any worse at any position than Jonathan India, so you can play him pretty much anywhere. I think right field's where he's headed. If he hits his first few weeks, if he looks like this is not overwhelming to him and can hit, he could literally change the batting order. And I think this is really going to be crazy because now I'm putting the cart before the horse. And the Royals will hesitate on this all day, but they will know it's the right thing to do. If this guy comes up and outperforms Salvador Perez at the plate, it's going to deserve Jack Caglione being higher in the lineup and Salvi going down to 6. It is. And that's the cruel part of sports. Salvi's only 34, going to turn 35, I think. Or did he just turn 35? Which isn't very old in life, but it's old in sports. And it happens. And the 22-year-old is on the way. This guy is crazy. He threw a pitch 98 miles an hour in high school. He was a starting pitcher at Florida and their first baseman. He hit so many home runs at Florida, setting the club record. He hit 33 at the University of Florida. That's a club record, a school record. He hit a home run in 9 straight games last year, including one that went 516 feet. Now, that's not a wood bat, but it's still 516 feet. He was such a prolific power alley hitter that college teams, you're not going to believe this. You don't have to know anything about baseball to know you've never seen this before. College teams literally started playing 4 outfielders against him, saying, you know what, we'll give him a ground ball single if he wants to hit one. If it's going up in the air, we got to find a way to catch it unless it goes over the wall. Because he just walks up and rakes. They played 4 outfielders against the dude. I mean, we're talking legendary stuff. So I'll put this in perspective. The worst he can be, in my opinion, as a big leaguer is something like Eric Hosmer or Alex Gordon. And they're both going to wind up being Royals Hall of Famers. I mean, what he's done to this point and what the scouts say and his build and his skill level is the worst he's going to be. You know, Eric Hosmer had a couple of really nice years here. When he left Kansas City, he didn't do anything. Alex Gordon really struggled for a couple years, maybe 3 at the big league level. He was not good. When he was great in the minors, but got to the big leagues and was flat not good. He really struggled. Moustakas was the same way. That can happen. That's the floor. The ceiling for this guy, greatest power hitter in Royals history. It's just sitting there for him. It's not an organization with a lot of great power hitters, mostly because of the ballpark, but it's not what the Royals have ever been. They've always tried to acquire and develop speed, gap hitters, use the park to their advantage. This guy hits it an absolute mile. He will be instantly a celebrity in Kansas City. There will be signs, shirts, women going crazy, tickets being sold when the Royals get back to town next week. And one of the main reasons why is not just that this happens in a sport or in a city. It's the last 2 guys we've done this with are the best we've ever seen. We did this with Mahomes, and look how that worked out. Everybody got crazy for Bobby Witt Jr., and look how that's worked out. Let's not forget, we're invincible in this town. We can't lose anymore. I heard a guy call Pete earlier today and say, oh, this stadium thing, you know, the Royals are just such a blah, they're just not even important because they stink. And all that. Well, there may be people not thinking it's important where the stadium goes or whatever. But the Royals were a playoff team last year that swept another playoff team in a series and lost to the Yankees in the playoffs. Right now, they're 1 game out of the wild card spot, and they can't hit. If this guy comes up and hits, this is going to be a fun summer, folks. I don't think he's going to hit. He's certainly going to hit like the minors. I'll take right now. If this guy hits 250 the rest of the year, and we got, 2/3 of the season left? He hits 15 home runs, 16 home runs the rest of the way, and maybe 30 RBIs, 40 RBIs. I'll be thrilled. Let's go for it. Let's see what he's got. But we're Kansas City now, and when we get these star draft choices, they seem to be producing. It's almost like a farmer on a roll. Just the right amount of rain, the soil's nice and fertile, every crop every year is yielding everything it can possibly grow. That's what it feels like. Why wouldn't Jack be the same way? And he's got a funny name. There's no K on the end of Jack, and Caglione doesn't look anything like that Caglione. It looks like Caglianone. This is going to be fun. The Royals play the Cardinals tomorrow in St. Louis. They'll play those 3 games there, and then the White Sox. I told some buddies before the weekend, I was predicting they'd call him up next weekend for the White Sox series in Chicago. Just fly him to Chicago to play the worst team in the American League, maybe, in front of no fans, and have your big league debut that way. They don't like to do it at home very often. But then next week, he comes home to face the Yankees at Kauffman Stadium. It's going to be electric. He may start 0 for 30. I don't know. I've seen that before with guys that are really good. All I know is he's way too good for minor league baseball. He does not belong at that level. And as stinky as the Royals said over and over and over, we're not going to bring him up because we expect him to help the lineup. We want to do it when we're hitting well and this and that. I mean, we have J.J. Piccolo. He said it 1,000 times. No, we're going to wait when we're hitting good, when we're scoring runs. We don't want any pressure on him. Put the pressure on him. He's an adult. You paid him $7.5 million. Let's do the pressure thing. The faster he feels the pressure, the sooner he gets over it all and adjusts to being a big leaguer. So that's my take. Let's go do this. 913-408-7957 is our number to call. We don't often lead with sports, but this transcends that. You'll get to know the name. Jack Caglione is here. We come back, we're going to talk a little bit. This is unbelievable what Ukraine did to Russia and how they did it. Because what they did, I don't think Russia could do to them. I think Ukraine has the technology advantage in this thing, which is just nuts. Hey, give me a shout if you want to chat about anything going on. 913-408-7957. This is Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio.
From Gardner to Grain Valley, it's Kevin Kietzman Uncanceled on 95.7 FM KCMO Talk Radio.
Okay, we're going to go to the phones here on KCMO Talk Radio. Great to have you with us to start out the week today. And here's our good friend Steve in Kansas City, Kansas. He's already trying to move this guy all over the field. I love it. What's up, Steve?
Oh, yeah, it's like Christmas morning. We get to unopen our presents here pretty soon. For the summer. I wasn't a pitcher. Now, I don't have any expertise about any of this stuff. I was an okay hitter and a first baseman, but it seem like if this guy had a 4.0 ERA in an elite college program, was 12-5, with a 98 mile an hour stuff and a pretty good curveball, wouldn't you kind of put him out there in the bullpen and kind of see what he could do or something?
You can't put him in the bullpen. He's going to play every day. No bullpen.
Well, yeah.
So here's where J.J. Piccolo stands on this. And the Royals told Jack Caglione when they drafted him, and that's that's the only reason we're talking about this guy. We've never seen anything like this. We don't know exactly what we have in our hands. The Royals have told him, you will pitch, but not now. So they want to make him an outfielder because they've got Vinny at first base. They want to make him a right fielder. And once he learns the big leagues and can play a position and is hitting comfortably, they're going to start having him throw on the side, and he would be a reliever. He'd be a reliever that would come in from right field as a left-hander to come in and get, the last out of an inning, or, face a hard left-handed hitter. He'd come in and face that batter. Then he can go back to right field. And my question is, I was just asking Mark during the break, could you move him into pitcher? And if he got the last out of an inning, could you take the DH out and then your pitcher moves into the DH slot? Could he move in the batting order?
Right.
I don't think you can move in the batting order. I don't think you can. But if you can, he then becomes a weapon nobody's ever seen.
I agree with you. I mean, 100%. This is like Babe Ruth or something. This is like Ohtani. He may be better than we just don't know. We just don't know. He could be a shutdown closer. No one knows. He was a starter in college. He was an elite college program starter. So that makes me wonder. I might have him go to spring training and work with the starters for a while. I don't know anything about pitching.
I don't think they ever want to make him a starter. I don't think because you really got to focus on pitching then. I don't think you ever want to do that. Yeah. I think they look at him as like a one-out guy with there's 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th, and here comes a lefty. Come in and get that guy out. Then you don't have to come back the next inning. If you end the inning, you don't have to face 3 batters, right? So then he can go back to right field. I think that's how they see him. And listen, I'm the only guy in this town that's been asking the last couple of years, why have they not thought about using Bobby Witt that way? He throws 100 miles an hour. I mean, you got an arm sitting there at shortstop you could bring in if you want. Now, they've got plenty of bullpen arms right now, but they've never even considered that with Bobby Witt.
Listen, this is all good. I say put that, like you said, put him in. I heard he was having problems with fly balls in Omaha or whatever, but fine. But when he gets accustomed, put him in the pen and see what he can do. I mean,
Kansas City and what's going on. I think that's all possible, but we don't know yet if he's a great hitter at the big league level. We have to see it first. And that's what the Royals are focused on. They want him to hit. And once he hits, once he's established as a big league hitter, then they'll maybe work on making him a very rare part-time reliever in one fashion or another. It's going to be wild to watch.
He could be an American hero. Ohtani's kind of the Japanese hero. Yeah. We need the American hero, and that could be Jack Caglione.
And Ohtani's had arm problems, right?
Yeah, he's only pitched for a couple of years.
Which is another reason you wouldn't want to make him a starter.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you want him going out there grinding. And no, I literally think the Royals would look at him as the kind of guy that would come in maybe and face one batter if he got the last out of the inning, and then would go back to right field. And I don't think, although I think I'm right. You can't move a player in the batting order, but maybe not. I've seen this double switch stuff and guys get moved around all over the place. There's got to be a way to do it. What we were talking about was, let's say, for example, Caglione had just batted in the 8th inning in a tie game, and then comes in it wouldn't be between innings. If he was your pitcher, you could take your DH out, and the pitcher would hit in that slot. And let's say your DH was hitting 6th that day, and the number 4 hitter made the last out of the inning. Well, you could get him another at bat if you can move him in the lineup. I don't know if it's different with pitchers. I've never heard of that. There must be a rule against it. like 90% sure there's no way to make that Rubik's Cube fit. But if you could make that fit, then he's a whole other weapon, especially if he's a great offensive player. Then you could see situations where you might want to bring him in to get an out at the end of an inning just to move him in the order.
If Jack gets the last out of the seventh inning and then the DH is batting right behind him, he could just bat again to lead off the next inning.
DH is out of the game, the pitcher's hitting. I don't think so. I don't think you can do it. I'm almost positive you can't do it. But my goodness, wouldn't that be phenomenal to see something like that? I guess anything could happen. But seriously, the guy paid the guy a bunch of money, man. And he just turned 22. He's really young. He just turned 22 during spring training. So he's a baby, but Bobby Witt Jr. was a baby. Patrick Mahomes was a baby. They all came here, and you can say Mahomes sat the bench for a year, which is I can't. There's no equivalent to baseball and football, but his head must have been on a swivel the whole time, trying to learn an NFL offense and all that stuff going on. But he came out and played in the last game of the year and won a game in Denver, throwing the ball around. I mean, his Uncanceled continues. Ukraine pounds Russia next.
Call Kevin Kietzman, 913-408-7957. Now on 95.7 FM.
You know, like any other radio host, I figure I have topics that I like and don't like. And one that I have avoided on this show in particular and my podcast as well, because it's just kind of worn on and there's no reason to do updates, whatever, until today. And that is this war between Ukraine and Russia, which is completely senseless and stupid. And I'm not getting into the details of why they're fighting or any of this, but I'm not optimistic about the peace talks. They opened the peace talks back up today in Turkey. And Zelensky started by bragging about the pummeling he dished on Russia yesterday. I'm not sure how close you are to peace when you're opening the peace talks with a statement bragging about 117 drones that you launched into the air that wiped out almost 50 long-range airplanes of the Russian army. These are the ones that haul nukes. They killed only 12 people with 117 drones. Their goal was not to kill anybody. They killed 12, or at least that's what they're saying. And the way they did it was absolutely amazing. And I'm not sure the Russians knew they had you don't surprise this far inland and execute what it was that they did if the country you're doing it to knew that you had the capability of doing it. So I think they just got this technology over the course of this war through all the money that we've spent and the little money that Europe has spent. And I'm going to ask the question, if we gave them all our drone technology secrets, and when I say we, I mean Joe Biden and his people, and that's what we saw executed yesterday, is that legal? I know that we can appropriate funds. We weren't going to send our Air Force jets in there and our fighter pilots to fight with them. We're not going to be soldiers arm to arm with them. What can you do for another country without breaking what, I didn't hear Congress vote, hey, can we give them all our war secrets? Can we share our drone technology with Ukraine and let them build their own drones, which Zelensky said today, they have the 40% capacity to continue to build these things, but they need more funding to get up to 100% capacity. So he's drop them, get them into the country, drive them to a strategic location, launch the drones from this thing. When the drones go up in the air, they blow up the unmanned vehicle so you don't leave the technology behind. They do all this remotely with joysticks. They flew 117 drones in, took out between 45 and 50 planes, nearly $3 billion worth of damage to equipment to the Russian army without sending a single person across the border. They went into Russia and did this. And Zelensky is bragging about their technology and that they have a technological advantage over Russia. It sounds like they do. Gee, I wonder where they got it. People are asking, well, gosh, that's so advanced. I wonder if the United States has that. I'm like, that's the question you're asking? The question you should ask is, why did we give them all our tech secrets? Why are they deploying things that we have that we probably shouldn't be sharing with them? That certainly doesn't sound like something Trump did. That sounds like the Biden era doing that. In fact, we've got the things going on between Zelensky firing all these drones and missiles and explosions. There was no warning. Trump didn't know about it. There's things happening with Israel, what they're doing in Gaza. They're not telling Trump. Like, Trump's trying to solve everything, but the people we're supposedly supporting, Israel and Ukraine, they're not telling us what they're doing right now because it's not the same as when Biden was in. They liked it. They might have liked it. Israel wouldn't have, but certainly Ukraine liked it better when Biden was in there. The money just kept coming, and I believe this is new technology for Ukraine. It has to be. If they had the ability to do this 2 years ago, wouldn't they have done it? Let's be honest. They just got this and mastered it and figured out how to do it, and it was flawless. And it was complex, and it was high-tech, and it was detailed, and it was incredible. And I've got no problem with them doing that to Russia. Russia invaded their country. I also understand why Russia invaded their country. It wasn't a great reason, but it's not a perfect analogy, but I would say if Mexico took over Texas, I think at some point one of our presidents would want to go back into Texas and get her back. That's kind of what this is. Vladimir Putin wants the old Soviet Union countries back. They speak Russian. They're Russian Orthodox. They are of Russian heritage. He wants back what they once had. I understand that. I don't agree with it in the way of the world forever. But Ukraine dropping this on them and executing this was remarkable. Really, really, really high tech. Pretty cool stuff. And then it begs the question, is this good or bad? If we're now at a point where, so we know hand-to-hand combat's bad. You know, sending soldiers across a country's line, being on the front line, shooting at each other. You know, some people are saying maybe 1 million people have died already in this war. We know that's bad. The question is, if you're now fighting with drones and that's where it's going, there's not going to be hand-to-hand combat anymore. It's all going to be drones. That's where it's going. How good or bad is that? Does it save lives? Yes. Does it create a situation where you can more easily escalate to a nuclear war? I think that's probable. And I cannot imagine how mad Putin is that he's lost 40 to 50 of his nuclear carrying capable aircraft. I can't even imagine how mad he is. And if you've got this ability, again, Ukraine didn't lose anybody. They didn't send anybody. It was all just drones. But does that ramp this thing up now? Is he going after Kiev? Will he try to kill Zelensky? Who knows what will happen? What is the next level for Russia? I don't think it's a nuclear weapon, but there's got to be some sort of next level, or else they're really not the threat we thought they were. Because this should have been over. Russia should have had whatever it is they wanted at this point, and they shouldn't have lost as many people as they did. They're clearly not armed as well as a lot of people thought. But this is happening while there's peace talks. I don't think you start peace talks by bragging about your conquest the day before and asking Europe and the United States for more money, which he did again today, so he can build more of these drones and destroy more Russian stuff. This is it, man. I mean, they derailed trains, blew up tracks and some bridges. They did all kinds of stuff, unmanned, which is incredible. And I don't know that Russia's done that much to them, but maybe Russia has the same stuff and it's coming, and maybe this week. I don't know how you deliver that blow right before the peace talks unless you think this is going to give me strength at the table that you guys need to sign something quick because I got a whole lot more of this. I'm not sure they do have a whole lot more of it, but they may have more. We're literally watching history before our eyes as warfare is changing in a very dramatic way. Very dramatic way. All right, back to the phones we go. Here's John in KCK. He's a former intelligence officer in the military. Hey, John, how are you today?
Well, thanks, but former Army intelligence sergeant.
Okay.
So, not an officer.
All right,
but,
thank you.
Appreciate it. But, this just brings a different dynamic into it all because it reminds me of the Hamas beepers and all that stuff going on. But Russia has the most nuclear weapons out of any country in the world. So there's a huge dynamic there. But it kind of reminds me, too, of Afghanistan in the 1980s where the Soviets got embarrassed by all this stuff. And the dynamic of this, the simple fact that it's just like, where do we go from here? Is there a nuke probably going to be lost by Putin? Probably not, less than 1%, I would say. But there will be ramifications because you got to think this is, $8 billion in aircraft that are just gone. And we're just trying to dry him up, too, especially with Nord Stream 2 being shut off and oil being shut off. It's just the amount of dynamics that changed with this. Well,
I guess one of the things I don't understand, maybe I hope you can answer this for me because I don't understand this. Like, how protected is the Capitol building, the residence, and all that stuff in Kiev where Zelensky lives and works? Can Russia strike that and take it out? Is there some unwritten rule of engagement that we're not going to take out the other government?
No, but here's the thing, too. It's like, what are the assets Ukraine has? I mean, they've got battlefield fronts in eastern Ukraine. They don't really have an airfield. They do, and we're giving them weapons. We're trying to give them freaking, F-32 fighters and stuff like that. It's just like, and what are they going to do? Attack
So we're building a golden dome to make sure Russia doesn't launch nukes at us. You're telling me they can't hit the capital of Ukraine?
No, Russia has hit the capital of Ukraine before. And it probably will again. But whatever air force that Ukraine has left, that may not be standing here in the next 30 days.
Yeah, they take out all the planes. I could see that. I guess Zelensky doesn't seem like he's in hiding to me. It doesn't look like it would be hard to get Zelensky. I don't understand if we're talking about the next level, and you and I agree we don't think that's a nuclear bomb, what would Putin want to do? At this point, wouldn't you want to wipe out his regime and his government and just say that let's just topple this country?
Here's the problem with Zelensky, is that he's gone too macho. He's not General Patton, but he's gone too macho, especially when he tried to man it up to Donald Trump.
Right.
That may be his Achilles heel on this, where somebody may want to just back him down, or I don't know.
All right.
There's a few things I want to say, but I can't.
Let me switch this into American terms for everybody listening.
Yeah.
And let's just assume that where Bermuda is, which is just off the coast of like out by D.C. and whatever out in the Atlantic there, let's just say that's where Russia is, that they're not very far away, that everything Russia's got is right there.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you try to take out the White House, the Pentagon, the Capitol building, and just create total chaos in a country? They really haven't tried to do that in Kiev.
I mean, they're equivalent to us as Cuba. I mean,
I know, but I'm just asking, why doesn't Russia do that to Ukraine? Why have they not done that?
Because of the Trump effect and because of money, too, because the simple fact they don't have much weapons and munitions. Because you got to think, they got missiles from Iran. They got soldiers from North Korea to help out in their fight in Ukraine. They're showing signs of struggling. And the simple fact is, Putin may be so pissed now, he may send some kind of like overtime window attack to kind of countermeasure what happened yesterday.
That's what I'm going at. And I don't understand. You're telling me they don't have a missile that they can launch and just wipe out Kiev.
They could, but I guarantee you Trump is...
What are we going to do about it?
But
that's not our business, even if it does happen. What are we going to do about it?
Here's the thing, is if Ukraine falls, Poland's next. And if Poland gets involved, then we're involved.
Yeah, he's not coming after NATO. There's no Putin's. If Ukraine's taking him out like this with drones, he ain't coming after a NATO country.
Oh, he said it numerous times. He won't go after NATO.
He won't.
Poland is next.
He won't.
He
won't.
He won't. As somebody who studied him a little bit, I can guarantee you, after he gets done with Ukraine, he will.
He never has. I don't think. Well. And you think he's going to take all of Ukraine. Well, I didn't. I thought maybe he just wants 100 miles of it or whatever he's got now, and he's going to settle for that, and everything was going to be okay for a while until this happened, but I don't think so. And I don't think this strengthens peace talks. I think this is going to make Putin dig in. No. I really do.
No, it doesn't strengthen peace talks at all, and the simple fact is I expected him to take Kiev in 60 days. He got embarrassed. But now, all cards on the table, and he's going to be pushing the next limit. But the other thing you got to think, too, as well, he's in his 70s.
Yeah.
He doesn't have much time left in his legacy before he kicks the bucket.
All right.
And this does not help in any way, shape, or form in calming Vladimir Putin down at all.
Great call, buddy. Great call, John. I thank you for your service, man. You're awesome.
Not a problem, brother.
No, that's fantastic. Oh, this is a good one. This is interesting. Mike's got an interesting idea here. Mike, what's your thought on this?
Hey, Kevin. So last week, I think it was Monday or Tuesday, Trump had a response to Russia saying that we'll give them an ultimatum, essentially. I can't remember exactly what he said, but this could have been that response, the attack over the weekend. Now, I do agree with you. I don't think we should be selling state secrets or even funding the Ukraine anymore. However, I do believe the Ukrainians.
So what you're saying, here's why I think what you say makes sense. If he did know about it, he might have immediately wanted everybody to think, I didn't know anything about this. This is not me. Do you think Trump would want to do it secretly? And this is from him? Or, I mean, because if it was Trump's response, it seems to me he'd be out there puffing his chest going, I did this.
Yeah, more than likely that's the case. I was unplugged the entire weekend.
Yeah, well, we don't. I'll tell you what we don't want to do. We don't want to puff our chest out and say we're responsible for it.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's stay the hell out of it.
Yeah, but that's just my speculation from what he said last week.
Yeah, that's interesting. Thank you so much for your call. I appreciate it. No, it really is, because Trump did sort of say, you don't want to know what's going to happen. You don't want to know. It's like nothing anybody's ever seen before. Well, you know what? Nobody's ever seen a drone strike like this one. There have been some pretty cool drone strikes. There's been some things that you're like, wow. And the beeper thing with the Israelis was incredible. But this, oh my God, 117 of them, I don't think any of them missed. I think every one of them took something out. And it all just happened simultaneously, and not a single person went into Russia from Ukraine. They just did it all remotely. Welcome to war in 2025. Uncanceled continues on KCMO Talk Radio. We are brought to you by our friends at bestofferkc.com. Mark Delatour and his team would love the opportunity to work with you and your family if the situation arises, or a friend that you may have if they need to get out of a house quickly. Not listing it with a realtor, not doing showings, not cleaning, not doing anything you have to do. Just let's get it. Here's your cash. Go. This happens a lot of times with families that are affected by cancer and have to leave town for treatment somewhere else, and they don't want to leave their house behind. They know they're going to be gone 6 to 9 months. Just sell the house, take the money. We're worried about our future. Let's go address the health situation. BestOfferKC.com specializes in situations just like that. It could be a divorce, could be a personal matter, it could be a legal issue. They'll get you cash fast for your home with little to no work on your part. All you have to do is sit down with one of the pros from BestOfferKC.com, walk through the process of how it will work, get the offer, and then accept or decline it. Sometimes it's not best for you, and they'll even explain that, hey, listen, this house maybe should be with a realtor. You could get this done pretty quickly, whatever, or they know the situations, and you don't even wind up with BestOfferKC.com. They really do want what's best for you and your family at Best Offer KC. So call 913-338-SOLD. That's 338-SOLD. The website is bestofferkc.com if you'd like to learn more about this great Kansas City company with dozens of employees. They are local.
If it's happening in KCMO, it's on KCMO 95.7 FM. Here's Kevin Kietzman.
Oh, we're so proud of Sesame Street. They went on social media yesterday to celebrate Pride Month with a slogan that says, "On our street, everyone is welcome." And I would only ask the question, since they flew a pride flag for that, why don't they use the same slogan and put up an American flag? On our street, everyone is welcome. How about we fly the American flag instead of the pride flag? I digress. Mark Van Sickle, a lady named Maja Stark, won the United States Women's Open Golf Tournament. Don't know if you were aware of that or not. It's a huge prize. She won $2.4 million.
Very nice.
She'd never won anything like that before. They asked her afterwards what she was going to do with the money was the first thing she'd buy. She said, first of all, I didn't know it was $2.4 million. She was happy to hear that. She said, I think I'll move out of my studio apartment. I thought that was great.
Good choice.
You just win $2.4 million, Mark Van Sickle. What are you buying?
Probably upgrade the house like she did. Upgrade that. Maybe
A new house or upgrade the one you're in?
I'd probably sell the one I'm in and then upgrade.
Okay. Look for a new house.
Yeah.
That's good. I'm going to go with invest it for now for the 3.5 years of the Trump presidency left, because I think the markets are going to do really well. And then at the end of that, maybe make some life decisions and figure out where you're going, right?
Yeah.
How about we're both boring.
Actually, I would invest in Star Bonds in Kansas.
Star bonds, yes. Especially those American Royal ones.
Yes.
Yeah, go for the American Royal Star bonds. Did you see Scotty Scheffler won a golf tournament this weekend?
Yes.
So he wins the Memorial, which is Jack Nicklaus's tournament, and he gets done, and his wife greets him at the 18th green and gives him a hug and a kiss and hands him the baby. Are you aware of what happened next?
Did he get peed on?
Worse.
Oh, no.
She hands the baby to him and goes, be careful, there's poop all down his back. I'm not kidding. And he turns around, and the baby, there's just a giant poop stain on his white shirt right above the diaper.
Been there.
Came right up and out the diaper. I mean, if that isn't it, the greatest golfer in the world walks off the course to a poopy son. You only hear that stuff on Uncanceled. The Vince Show's coming up next.